There you. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The 2017 Mount Healthy Alumni Band. Can you turn it down a little bit in the sound booth? Turn it down a little bit. A little bit. Working on it. Okay. Sound man. It's a great pleasure to see you all here. Thanks for coming out to share this program with us this afternoon. We really appreciate it. We always have a wonderful audience, and I think that you're going to be happy that you came again this year. We've got some great music to play for you, some wonderful things, surprises, or whatever else that, thanks Jason, that are in store for you. And my name is Bob Gray, and yes, they did give me the microphone again this year. And so I'm going to kind of introduce the pieces, if you will. Did anyone recognize the last one? Is there anyone out there who did? Okay. Thanks very much. The famed and fabled Mount Healthy March, Henry Fillmore, Gus Beans, and we are next going to go on to a very, very high-profile classic overture for you, written by Peter Tchaikovsky, the 1812 Overture. And of course, many of us have ideas in our mind. 1812 Overture, you know, and it's an overture that is celebratory and celebrates not the 1812 war that most of us think of, but the 1812 war where the Russians turned back Napoleon. Okay, so Tchaikovsky wrote this overture in 1880. It was first performed in 1882. And it was first performed here. I talked to Russ and I said, I don't remember playing that a whole lot. And he said, we didn't. We played it at the 100th anniversary of Mount Healthy City Schools, which was in 1994. Some of you may remember that. I know I do because I got to conduct the shotguns that year, okay? Which was very special for me. We do not have shotguns in the house today, but we will have cannon fire and be ready for that as we get towards the end of the piece. In 1994, the 100th anniversary of Mount Healthy City Schools, and Mark Hensler pointed out to me that Mark had to leave in the middle of that concert. It was a huge concert, very huge concert. And Mark had to leave because his son was being born that day. No, actually, was coming home that day. Right? Am I correct? Okay. And so, and today is his, I can't do the math, but Mark, it's your birthday today, isn't that right? He was born that day when we played that 94 concert. So this is Mark Hensler up here. And before we get into the music here, Steve Hook has something to say. I guess he's just going to deliver it. He's going to deliver it. We thought some of us have been sharing this baton that Russ has. It's the same one that he had when he retired, I think in like 1985 or something. And so we thought maybe a new baton would be in order for the concert. And it's going to make 1812 a lot easier for us to play. Steve is a wood turner, and he turned this stick for Russell. So, yeah. Yes, whether you heard that or not, Steve assures us that there are no bad notes in this baton. We'll see. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, here's the 1812 Overture. Again, thanks for coming, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next year. I mean, wasn't that baton amazing? Incredible. You know, I'm sure many of you out here realize that was a major effort to pull that off. So, I mean, just an incredible effort on behalf of the folks that are here. So, you know, if you know anybody up here, you need to congratulate them for showing up and doing that, because there were a couple of people that had doubts, I must say. Not me, no. So our next piece on the program is for your enjoyment, is a clarinet concerto, von Weber clarinet concerto number 2. Our soloist today is Margarita Rubio Audette. Recently moved from Florida, where she was very active, engaged in orchestras and band playing down there, and also took part in a lot of nursing home, retirement home visits with music therapy, that type of stuff, and is very engaged with that there, and now has moved to Massachusetts, and I forget what city it is, but it doesn't make a difference. If Massachusetts is that big. So she lives in Massachusetts, and she's getting established there in much of the same format as she took part in Florida. She's a wonderful player, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy this. This is the 3rd movement. It's a polonka from the von Weber Clarinet Concerto number 2. Please welcome Margarita to the stage. It doesn't get much better than that, does it? Margarita is from the class of 1967. From the class of 1976. 1976. It was a really great class, and that's a really great clarinetist right there. Some of you have heard of the March King, John Philip Sousa, and Sousa wrote a lot of marches, which we try to play every year, and this year we have one for you. I really don't know anything about this march. Most of the time Sousa wrote marches for particular events or usually getting paid, I think, but this one may be in that format, I'm not sure. But we're happy to play for you next, Homeward Bound March. The conductor is the band director here at Mount Healthy High School. He just finished his 11th year teaching. Has been a great help to the alumni band and as far as accessing the facilities here and being a wonderful player back here in the alto saxophone section. So please welcome again, Jason McElroy. Thanks very much, Jason. Thanks, band, for a great rendition of Homeward Bound. Next, we're going to feature. Next, we're going to feature a couple players that have a long history here in our school. You could go a long way in many states before you would find 2 euphonium players as qualified, as outstanding as the next 2 that you're going to hear. And they both graduated here from Mount Healthy High School. Unbelievable, isn't it? Huh? The piece is one that's probably a gemstone of the euphonium repertoire. Every euphoniumist out there in the world aspires to play this piece, and these 2 are no different. So we are very pleased to be able to feature on a piece called Figaro in Stereo our 2 euphonium soloists, Mr. Steve Hook and Mr. Mark Hensel. Will you welcome them to the stage, please? Next, we have a brief commercial announcement from our band mother, Patty Harness.
Good afternoon. I hope you're enjoying our concert this year. You know, we don't just show up coincidentally. I mean, Mr. Hinkle makes sure we're here. How he does that? He sends us letters. 800 letters go to former band students, reminding them of this upcoming concert. These letters go across the country, and some go all over the world. Many of these former band members send donations to the Alumni Band Fund. From these donations, we are able to offer a scholarship to a very deserving Mount Healthy graduate who has been involved in the band program. I'm happy to announce this year's recipient will be attending Kent State studying English literature. Please help me congratulate the 2017 Mount Healthy Alumni Band Scholarship winner, Noelle Reese. Raising a fine musician. Thank you. Okay, one more announcement, and then we'll get back to the show. As in previous years, after the concert, the Mount Healthy Band Boosters provides us with an ice cream social to catch up with old friends and share some memories. This year is no different. The Band Boosters president, Lori Jones, is she back there? Right here. Thank you. Lori Jones and her daughter, Maria, will be serving ice cream for $3 per person. For volunteering their time and services to be with us, we have a special token of appreciation. Because they're serving us food, I think it's only appropriate that we give them some gift certificates for Gold Star Chili, and they also, because they're serving us ice cream, I think we should give them ice cream. So the Mount Healthy Dairy Bar also has something for you. Give that to your mom. Thank you very much.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, on with the show. And our next featured soloist, it will play for you a piece by the esteemed and revered trombone soloist, formerly of the United States Navy Band, Arthur Pryor. And he was a wonderful technician, a beautiful lyrical player, and it's only appropriate that the soloist you're going to hear is at that level or beyond even, perhaps, okay? We have a graduate from the class of 2002 for you to play on the trombone, the Bluebells of Scotland, and so please welcome to the front of the stage here, Mr. Casey Garza.
There is nothing like a bicentennial to get you thinking about the past. And yet, every year when the alumni band meets, that is exactly what we do. We see old friends and make new ones. We reminisce. We do rehearse. And we always take the time to pay tribute to Mount Healthy band members who have passed away. I will read their names, then the band will play the Navy hymn. We ask that you hold your applause as a gesture of respect. Thank you. Please remember Bonnie Abernathy Kerpix, Nancy Albright, Mike Beisner, Mary Jean Belanca Strine, Ken Bobiger, Ken Brooks, Beverly Browse, Donald Byard, Margaret Cook, Susan Cook, Doug Cooley, Linnea Dershimer Rockland, Warren Ike, Thelma Emmons Fry, Dave Etzel, Nancy Fine Wiggins, Marilyn Fishboat, Richard Fuller, James Gerard, James Graybill, Mike Gregory, Bruce Gudenkauf, Mark Hammond, Daryl Hinson, Steve Hinson, Nancy Jackson Maloney, Raylene Jasper Guthrie, Carl Lyle, Don Linus, Mary Maddox, Debbie Mason Odell, Vicki McQuarrie Young, Scott Morris, Debbie Olendick Menkhouse, Jim Porter, Gerald Pottinger, Ken Rogers, Bob Redding, Bud Scholl, Sid Schwab, Eileen Shale, William Shively, Teresa Sturworth, Tom Stone, Joe Watson, Myra Wikers, Thelma Wernz Dudley, Era Lee Wynn, Brad Witzker, David Woods, and Scott Viston.
So thanks very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your understanding with that. I think it's always really great that we take a few moments to remember, think about those folks that you heard on that list today, and thanks Pam for reading that. And you know, for me, it's a kind of a moment for remembering a lot of good times and a lot of good people. And we have a lot of good people on the stage today, don't we? Huh? What about this crowd over here? You know, I got to tell you, Russ is not here, I guess, so I can tell you this. Going back, maybe it was going back 30 years ago or 35 or whatever it was, might have been an obligation to come and do this over a weekend, you know. And anymore, it's something I really look forward to. And I guess the reason I really look forward to it is because of the people that come and take part in it, right? So, and besides that, it's not bad music, is it? Huh? One of the people that you know that I continue to be able to make music with over the years, starting in I think 1960, in the Hunt Auditorium with Dick Westridge, is my good friend Steve Hook, who you see standing over here, and we continue to play almost weekly, I guess, and we can still talk to each other and be friends. It's quite amazing, and so. He's going to conduct for us on this next piece, and I'll play it for you. Thanks to my good friend Michael Gallahue, who did this arrangement. I'd asked him to do it, and he just got it done last week. And I quick copied and printed parts, and the band quickly learned it and put it together. And so we are going to give this a shot. It's called Tico Tico. that was on the program, that was off the program, that was back on the program. I said, Russ, you know, if we save it for next year, I might not be able to play. Next, we've got a couple more pieces for you. And the first will be the Mount Healthy alma mater. And what we'd like to ask you to do, if you're an alumnus of Mount Healthy, please stand as we start the tune-up, okay?
To put on a concert like this takes a lot of people doing a lot of things. I'd like to recognize those people right now. Julie Robinson. To do the envelopes, the letters, and also arrange the building use. And also, after this, she retired. They always leave in my house to stuff the envelopes in. As I said, we sent out 800 letters this year. And I'd like to thank these people for coming to the house every year and stuffing these envelopes. Ken Cook, Patty Harness, Ken Handley, Carol Handley, Ron Hartman, Donna Palmer, Laurel Hinkle. That group. To do this, it only cost me 2 quarts of ice cream. And I also like to thank the present band directors, Jason and Mark, who arranged the chairs and stands to be on the stage, who worked the loudspeakers, who turned the lights on and just help us out immensely to put this on. And the most important, the folks you see on the stage, they're the folks that come every year and make this an extreme success. It's not easy to play a program like this with a Friday night rehearsal, a Saturday rehearsal, and a Sunday performance. So we're really pleased with the turnout and the work that they put in this. And I might add this time that Steve Hook, Bob Gray, Mark Sensor have probably played with this band well over 40 solos each. Most of you know the wonderful trips that this band has taken. And I always like to repeat this, so I'm so very proud of this group. To do these things, you have to play well. You just can't take a Class D band around the world. They have to be top-notch. This band has played in 8 states and 15 foreign countries. Biggest thrill I ever got in music, and then maybe the biggest thrill of my whole life, was playing the national anthem in Beijing. You all know that Patty said we're going to have ice cream afterwards, and there will be people at the door. If you'd like to donate to the Mount Healthy Alumni Band Fund, we try to help the band every way that we can. We give scholarships, we buy instruments, we do anything that the band needs, and we, over the years, have given thousands of dollars to the music program, and we like to do it. So there'll be people at each door. If you'd like to donate, we'd appreciate it very much. Now, I would like to, one other thing to leave with you parents, the parents on the stage. The music programs in the school is suffering. All schools are suffering because the politicians and the administrators have to cut back on money, and music is the first thing they cut back. And it's a shame, because they say we should do science and math. Don't they realize that right on the stage we're doing science and math? So when you get a chance, if you get to talk to any of these politicians or the administrators, tell them how you think. Tell them that we want the music not only to be cut back, but to increase, because we have had a marvelous music program in the Mount Healthy schools for the last 50 years. Thank you. Incidentally, we have played this march in every country that we went to.